All right, I'm going to call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Present are council members Floyd, Cost, Bub, Marmee, and Rath is sitting in for Frazier. I'd like to start off this meeting, just a pause, I guess, to think about those families of the Ohio State folks and what has been a tragedy today, and thank God that it appears as if none of the injuries to those are life-threatening at this point. But for those of you that have had children in college, have children in college, or may have children in college, your heart just stops. And even though it's not Ohio University where my son is going currently, you just sit and you think, what if? And I can only imagine what those families are going through, and just a horrible ordeal. So just take a second. Thank you. A little bit on a lighter note, I really thought that we were going to have to call the EMS on me on Saturday. I was asking for the paddles because I just thought I was going to have a coronary. It's just unbelievable, and I was truly thankful this weekend.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody had a great and wonderful Thanksgiving. The first item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $6,125. Yes, sir.
Good evening. This is termination vacation and termination comp for Officer Jeremy Wesner from the police department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Floyd, second by Bub. Make sure that was all expedited. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. You have the next one too, probably.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $296.
This is termination comp time for an employee leaving our service, Kayla McGuire.
Second.
Motion by Cost, second by Floyd. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit an application to the United States Environmental Protection Agency for fiscal year 2017 Brownfields Assessment Grant.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, we just want to make application for a Brownfield grant. We had this same assessment grant back in 2012. We did some really good things with it. We had $200,000 only at that time to do brownfield assessments. This time we're going for a $200,000 hazardous substance assessment and another $100,000 for a petroleum assessment. So that's where the $300,000 come in. But again, we had a lot of success with it. We helped a number of property owners who really needed to have this information at their disposal when it comes time to sell their property, and it saves them some expense in the sale of the property if they have this done in advance. So we ask for your support.
Very good.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Floyd, second by Bub. For the record, I'd like to note that Mr. Frazier is here.
Thank you.
Not for the record, I believe he said he would not be late anymore because 16 bypass was no longer.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay.
It's improving.
Just
it's improving.
It's not on the record. I have a motion on the floor by Floyd, a second by Bub. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, the Finance Committee meeting stands adjourned. Next up is service.
I know you'll miss it.
All right, we'll call the Service Committee meeting to order. Those present are myself, Rath, Cost, Bub, Frazier, and Floyd. Consider resolution number 16-99, authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service of the City of Newark, Ohio to negotiate and enter into contract subject to the appropriation of funds for a solar power system located at the wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Lumens.
Yeah, this is a contract we've been working on for most of the year with AEP Energy, and we've got most of the details of the contract worked out. We've been working with a legal firm of Ricker and Eckler to negotiate the power purchase agreement. This agreement this project then will be a solar field on the old Newark processing site, which was a brownfield that was remediated through the Department of Development a few years ago, and so they are requesting that we have an authorization to enter into a contract with City Council. So this will be a 20-year contract that we're working on. We'll be buying all of the power from there. There's effectively no savings to the city to do this. But we're hoping it's a kind of a break-even cost. But there is an environmental impact to this. We're taking solar energy. This is going to produce close to 25% of our energy at the treatment plant. And so there's there's obviously some environmental benefits to us using solar down there for part of our power. So that's kind of what the project is. We just, like I said, we're getting down to the last few nitty-gritty details on the contract that I think we can agree to, but we need some authorization to do that. So.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Floyd, seconded by Frazier. Any questions from the committee?
Mr. Chair. Are we able to scale this up?
Frazier.
Thank you. Are we able to scale this up at a later date, or is this a one-time?
Well, there's a couple problems with that. Number one, the site is only so large. We'd have to. The other thing is, as these things are negotiated, there's a company that AEP Energy builds these and sells the power. They only want to invest X amount of dollars, to get, because it has to do with the solar energy or renewable energy credits. That's really where they're making their money at. They're kind of selling this at a loss, but they're making money on tax credits. Mm-hmm. And so it's a balance. It's really their business decision how much and how big this thing is and what we'll buy. So I guess the answer to the question is, if 10 years from now things are in better financial shape for them to pricing,
invest in the same location.
There's room to double this in size, but again, it's kind of their decision. If they think they can produce more and we'll buy more at a rate that they can make enough money at. We're not opposed to buying solar energy. We're opposed to buying energy at a higher rate than what we're buying it at currently.
And so this energy would just be at the market rate still?
Well, we have a set rate in the contract that we're negotiating that got some escalator clauses in it. It's a little. Is it? Yeah, is it a little bit of a gamble on our part? A little bit. We all kind of understand that electric rates are going to go up in the future. Could they go down in the future? They could, but we don't know that. But a pretty safe bet they're going to be going up. And so this is a rate structure that's going to be in place for 20 years. It's going to be for the solar power. We just feel it's a good thing on our part to do the environmental kind of thing and use solar power as opposed to burning fossil fuels for the treatment plant when we have the opportunity to, and it's basically what appears to be a no cost to us. It's not a savings, but it's also not a cost either. So, not that it could be a little bit of a cost in the end, but that's one of those
so we
things.
just have to pay for the electricity.
Yeah, we just don't know that.
So do we own this land?
We own, the city owns the land. The water department does not own the land. The city, I don't know if Mark's here yet. So the city owns the land. The Department of Development took that over, I guess, after the remediation that was paid for by various brownfield funds, so.
Yeah, that happened before I came here, but the city does own the property. I don't think there was actually any monetary transaction that took place. I think it was almost like a deed, almost like a deed in lieu from the previous property owners, which were defunct. Some of them passed away. And the city took over the property. I will say this, when I came in here 5 years ago, the city had gone through the cleanup, and they had a proposition to put a solar field on this property. But in that proposition, the city had all the responsibility. They had all the financial responsibility. They had the responsibility 25, 30 years down the road when it was maybe reached the end of its useful life or decreased useful life. It was all on the city. This program that AEP Energy has brought to us, they have all the responsibility. Financially, the mechanics of it, they're going to maintain it, they're going to own it, they're going to maintain it. And hey, if 30 years from now, if it's a problem, they'll come and they'll dismantle it and take it away as well. So it really removed all the risk and responsibility the city would have had in previous negotiations. So it's a great deal.
So in 20 years, so the contract's for 20 years, correct? In 20 years, we decide not to renew the contract. Do they dismantle everything and take it away?
It's theirs to take away. There is an option for us to buy it at the end of 20 years. There is, this is a contract as well. So there's if 5 years from now somebody says we're not going to do that anymore, there's things in the contract that we got to pay. To terminate the contract. I mean, there are those things in there. So there's a little bit of risk. I mean,
and there's good faith on their part as well to maintain the facility, and if solar panels break, they're responsible for fixing
that's all in the
it.
contract
Yeah.
for maintaining. They got to maintain a certain output. If they don't make that output, we have ways that we pay less because they can't make the output. We have the law director permitted us to hire an outside firm who specializes in negotiating power purchase agreements. Bricker and Eckler is the company that did that for us. They do these all the time. They've been advising us as to what we should put in that contract, and they've been involved heavily in the negotiations. And so I think we got a pretty solid contract. They're happy with it, so we're happy with it. So.
Any questions from the audience? Any other questions from up here? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 5-0. And we'll stand adjourned.